If you rent in Metro Atlanta, you have spent about 2 years in the best negotiating position renters here have had this century. That period is ending, and the data telling us it's ending is not a prediction. It's already on the ground. Atlanta apartment construction is collapsing. Deliveries this year are projected at somewhere between 8 and 9,000 units, down roughly 40 to 50% from last year. One analysis called it the Metro's slowest development pace in over a decade. Vacancy is tightening for the third consecutive year. And concessions, the free months, the waived fees, the gift cards have already started disappearing. So this video is about three things: what actually happened to Atlanta rent over the last 2 years and why, what's happening right now that almost nobody is talking about, and what you should specifically do about it in the next 6 to 12 months, depending on what kind of renter you are. Let's start with what happened, because you need the mechanism to understand the reversal. Part 1. How Atlanta rent got soft. Between roughly 2022 and 2025, Metro Atlanta went through one of the largest apartment construction waves in its history. That wave expanded the region's apartment inventory by about 11%. 11% in 3 years. Take a second with that, because it's enormous. In a market of hundreds of thousands of units, adding 11% to the supply in 36 months is the kind of thing that only happens when capital is cheap and everybody's models say the same thing at the same time, which is exactly what happened. Money was nearly free in 2021. Every developer in the country looked at Sunbelt migration data, and they all built the same product in the same cities in the same window. Atlanta got a huge share of it, and when all those buildings finished at once, landlords faced something they hadn't faced in years: real competition. Here's what that looked like in practice. The average one-bedroom in Metro Atlanta went from about $1,622 in April 2022 to about $1,607 in April 2024. That's a decline, and the fact that it's a small one is deceiving, because the sticker rent is not where the concession wars showed up. The concessions were where the real money was. Landlords across the metro started offering anywhere from 1 to 3 months of free rent to fill units. 1 to 3 months. On a 12-month lease, 2 months free is effectively a 16% discount that never appears in any rent index, because the lease still says the same number on it. And that matters enormously, because it means the published rent statistics understated how good the deal actually got. If you signed an Atlanta lease in 2024 with 2 months free, you got a better deal than any chart will ever show you. By early 2026, Metro Atlanta's median rent sat around $1,429, down about 0.9% year over year. Modest on paper, but it came on top of 2 years of flat to falling rent in a country where almost everything else got more expensive. In real terms, adjusted for what happened to groceries and insurance and everything else, Atlanta renters got a meaningful break. Now, Atlanta was not the extreme case, and it's worth knowing that, because it tells you something about what's coming. Over the same period, Austin was down about 5.9%. San Antonio, New Orleans, and Denver were all down around 5%. Phoenix and Tampa around 4%. Atlanta softened. Austin cratered. The difference is that Atlanta's job growth and in-migration kept absorbing units almost as fast as they came online, so Atlanta never developed the true glut that Austin did. That's the setup. Now here's the turn. Part 2, the reversal that's already underway. 4 numbers. I want you to hold all 4 at once, because individually, each is interesting, and together, they're conclusive. Number 1, deliveries are collapsing. Projected 2026 apartment deliveries in Metro Atlanta come in around 8,400 to 9,300 units, depending on whose forecast you use. That's a decline of roughly 43% year over year in one analysis, and nearly half in another. The lowest annual total since 2021. One report called it the slowest development pace in over a decade, and the concentration is telling. Only 2 submarkets are receiving 1,000 or more units this year: Johns Creek, Sewanee, and Buford, and Cartersville and Dawsonville. That's the far northern and northwestern edge of the metro. If you live inside the perimeter, essentially nothing new is being delivered near you. Number 2, vacancy is falling. Atlanta apartment vacancy sat around 6.4% in the first quarter of 2026. The forecast for the year is 5.2%, the lowest since the post-pandemic recovery. That would be the 3rd consecutive year of tightening, and one report noted Atlanta is posting the 2nd steepest vacancy drop among major U.S. metros. 2nd steepest in the country, not a gentle drift. Number 3, absorption is outrunning supply. In the first quarter of 2026, Atlanta delivered about 3,200 units and absorbed about 3,400. Read that again. More units got leased than got built. That is the exact moment a renter's market starts to die, and it happened in the first 3 months of this year. Number 4, concessions are evaporating. This is the one I'd pay the most attention to because concessions move first, before sticker rent, before any index. In one quarter, the share of Atlanta rental listings offering a concession fell from 61.2% to 51.8%, nearly 10 percentage points in 3 months. In late 2025, roughly 6 in 10 listings had something on the table. Now it's barely half and falling. The free month offer that was standard a year ago is becoming a negotiation you have to win. Put those 4 together and the picture is unambiguous. Supply is falling off a cliff, demand is holding, vacancy is tightening, and landlords are already pulling back the incentives. So what do the forecasts say? Average effective rents in Metro Atlanta are projected to reach about $1,650 this year, which one forecast described as a reversal of 2 years of declining rents, with Atlanta ranking second among major U.S. markets for rent growth, second in the country for rent growth in the market where you've spent 2 years getting free months. Part 3. Why demand isn't going anywhere. You could reasonably ask, what if demand falls instead? Supply is dropping, sure, but if people stop moving to Atlanta, none of this matters. Here's why I don't think that's the BT. Metro Atlanta added about 64,400 residents in a single year, bringing the regional population to roughly 5.29 million. That was actually an uptick from the prior year's 62,700. Forsyth and Cherokee counties each grew about 2.4%. The city of Atlanta itself grew 2%, adding about 10,600 people. Fulton County added 18,800. Gwinnett added 15,200. On jobs, Metro Atlanta is projected to add around 19,000 positions this year, ranking 4th among major U.S. metros, with roughly 4,500 of those in office using employment. Also 4th highest nationally, Mercedes-Benz, Equifax, Yamaha, and UCB have all been expanding in the northern suburbs. So, population still growing, jobs still coming, and construction falling by half.